number one, as a key member in NFLPA and representing Broncos, how do you think this all played out now? I know it's difficult with what happened with Juwan, but looking back at it now, were there concessions made that made kind of the original stance worth it, or how do you see it now, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't mind. I can definitely answer more at length at another time, maybe, Troy, and I don't mind speaking about it a little right now about it, but I know there's some exciting news today about Peyton and stuff, so I'd like to keep some focus on that, but I don't mind giving a couple blurbs if you want. Obviously from the beginning, I wasn't the one who started our union. I wasn't the guy who started these CBA negotiations, and obviously they've been voluntary and voluntary mandatory, as you guys know, and it's kind of been expected of players to be there over the years. And I don't know why it ever came down to that part. I'm just speaking for me. If I was a businessman, I'd want them in the building all the time. So why even put that word out there? So that's just something that, we talked about, and as the union, and obviously with the ongoing pandemic, and players still testing positive at the facilities across the country, and then a lot of the players traveling from around the country, just to kind of get to voluntary work. And for a lot of the veterans, didn't feel that they needed to be there. I was on the off-season committee as well, not just being on a union rep. I was in the off-season committee as well. And one of the things that I was always presenting to them was somehow to get the testing protocols correct. And that, I'm not saying the Broncos weren't, just we needed something definite league-wide. We can't just have each team kind of pick and choose what they want to do. In my off-season committee, I was, very big advocate of having the rookies in the building. Once they were drafted, and getting them the work that they need, because it's a big jump, not just, athletically wise in the NFL compared to college, also the business side of it. Each day, you're not walking in the cafeteria with your college dorm mates. Everyone player has their own life outside of this. You're not hanging out as much as the college. So to me, I thought getting the rookies acclimated would be, a big thing, which I was always vouching for. But at the end of the day, what we did, to hold out, something that we've been trying to do for years. And I think it's just something, maybe starts with maybe some players seeing, the value of them, maybe just continue to stay where they were.
Well, and I follow up the better news. Manning goes into the Ring of Fame. You were part of that team that won the Super Bowl, key part of that, part of his legacy. What does it mean to see, because there's only you and Vaughn left from that team. What does it mean to see Peyton go in?
Obviously, I'm sure the success was expected. An incredible person, incredible family he has, just the dedication and everything he put into his career, and his friendships outside as well, and kind of demanded excellence from his friendships. And, he was able to toe that line. I'm sure the story's all over that everyone knows about, toe those lines of friendship, and also demanding such excellence from them as well, which, made him a truly incredible leader. Obviously with him going into the Hall of Fame this year as well, I'm excited to be there, and help celebrate there with him. And like I said, incredible career, both in Indy, and as he came here to Denver and broke a bunch of records, and, had 2 Super Bowl appearances, won in 4 years, and, incredible competitor, probably more than athlete. I don't think he was the greatest athlete per se, but he was the best competitor in the world, and he knew how to win, and that was the biggest key here in the NFL, is winning.
We'll go Ryan O'Halloran, followed by Mike Kliss. Go ahead, Ryan.
Hey, Brandon, I got 2 for you, and let's revisit the union stuff a little bit. The statement that was put out said the product had never been better. This was a 5-11 team last year. Do you regret that part of that statement? I have a follow-up.
No, because it was a league. It's a league-wide we're looking at. The statement, we chose specifically some of the words for ourselves. Obviously, the league-wide, the injuries were down. Our injuries were not down. We didn't put that in our statement. So each things we're choosing based off of kind of league data. Each team made their own statement based on it. Half our team did it, voted the way they did to not show up because of COVID. The other half because they didn't think it was necessary. So we had to toe the line to make sure everyone's happy with the statement we were producing. And, we had, I think there were 65 players on the team at that time. 62 of them were on all 3 calls where we, broke down through the statements. And made sure everyone was happy with what we were putting out there.
Then secondly, as the player rep, how do you feel it's one of your duties right now to encourage teammates to be vaccinated?
My job is to educate them, I'd say, of the benefits of doing it for themselves. I'm not a doctor, so we've had doctors and some immunology doctors come in here and on Zoom and tell the players kind of the benefits of that side. I'm here to tell them the benefits of what happens if you are vaccinated, just some of the advantages that they can have personally with daily testing. They don't have to daily test, and some of the guys like myself, I when we travel to a city, Vaughn and I will go have dinner, or Kareem and some of our teammates, as a nice team bonding, instead of having hotel food. But just trying to tell them what the benefits are for getting the vaccine. They don't have to wear a mask in the building, stuff like that. At the end of the day, it comes down to a personal decision. That's why the league is never able to force us to do it. But there are some advantages personally, and then some maybe team-wise as well, which you can kind of do with the amount of people in certain rooms, meetings-wise and stuff.
Let's go Mike Kliss, followed by Arnie Stapleton. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, Brandon, it appears we're taking your kicking for granted and going right to your player rep duties here. Don't you want us in the locker room this year? We understand the union doesn't want reporters in the locker room one more time. What's your stance on that? And any chance you'll try to use your influence to get your media buddies in there?
Well, that's the first I'm hearing of it, Mike, personally. But no, I think that's kind of the cool thing, like I said, about rookies and like why I was on the offseason committee and wanted the rookies to be here, because there's a lot different than college in here. I think it is a cool and unique experience that the reporters have the opportunity. It's good and bad, obviously, to have the opportunity to come in there and speak right away. And obviously, I know the media has been a huge topic right now with Naomi Osaka as well at the French Open. But I think it's a unique experience, and Ray Jackson does a great job with our rookies and kind of going through everything that they're going to face differently in the NFL versus college. And obviously, and I know Patrick does as well, kind of does that presentation. I think you've been part of the presentation a couple of times, Mike, about what to expect with the reporters in there in the locker room. But I think it's a cool part of the NFL. Some players, will disagree, if they have a bad game and stuff, but that's just the nature of our business. When you're one of the few professional athletes in the world and one of the greatest sports, you're going to be ridiculed however your performance is. And obviously it's your guys' job to set it out there to the fans and the viewers. And, obviously, since you brought it up, I'll ask more questions about what their plans are for you guys in the future and hopefully have more access.
Let's go Arnie Stapleton, followed by Brandon Cristal. Go ahead, Arnie.
Brandon, thanks for doing this. I got a couple for you. Number one, what's it like to have Vaughn back on the field? I know, the friendship you guys have, and there was a little bit of a doubt even in this offseason that Vaughn would be back, but so he's back in the fold, he's back on the field. What does that mean for you guys?
Obviously, it probably means a lot more, obviously, for the defense than me, obviously personally, but he's just a huge asset to have on team, obviously, both physically and in the locker room. He's kind of like a glue. A lot of guys will come and they get stuck to him. He's got, an infectious personality. It's fun. He loves to work. As you guys know, he's been training for 2 years now. Unfortunately, last year with him getting hurt, training, his butt off out there in California, and he's never looked any better. And him and I talk, we joke about, obviously, everyone doubts his age and stuff like that. And I think the first week he made a comment how he's still whooping all these people's butts. They were 22, 23 years old. And that's just who he is. Whatever just similar to Peyton, whatever these guys put their minds to, they're able to accomplish. That's just kind of competitors that they are and the athletes that they are. So I don't see anything slowing him down personally as well. I think, I'm excited to watch him, finally for 2 years now to get back out there and dominate like he did before. And for the defense and the team as well, it's a huge mood boost to have somebody, the franchise sack leader, on the field with you and what he's able to disrupt, for Bradley on the other side and help, everybody on the field, because similar, as you know, from our 2015 year, we had incredible pass rush, which means our corners and safeties get to kind of sit a little earlier because they don't have to cover for so long. And it creates a lot of opportunities, which turns into our offense opportunities. And, so I'm just excited for him to be back out there and to see what the defense altogether can do with him.
We've got time for a couple more. We'll go Brandon Kristoff, followed by George Storia. Go ahead, Brandon.
Brandon, there was speculation that Tom McMahon may not be back, right? We talk about continuity with Pat Shermer or Mike Munchak, but for you to have both Tom and Chris back, how big is that? How helpful?
Yeah, I think it helps the whole special teams unit in general. Kind of getting them. We have a young team, as you guys know. A lot of them, they've been superstars in their college teams. They didn't really play special teams. That's going to be their job here in order to make the team. We've had our defense is pretty set, as you guys know, and our offense at receivers. Our offense at receivers are pretty set, stuff like that. So it's just different and good that we can have Tom back and kind of have the same scheme for our guys in year 2 and year 1 to kind of get used to it and understand it from the same voice. Tom's, as you guys know, is an all-in guy. He's nonstop, all about football, and he's going to kind of get our young guys going, and they need to know that. And obviously, with George coming in here as a new GM, I've talked with him about and just trying to express to them, in my opinion, just we need these guys on this field, and the only way they're going to make the team is special teams at certain positions, and we got to get them going. So.
We've got time for 2 more. Let's try to move through these last 2 pretty quick. Let's go George Storia, followed by Eric Dalala. Go ahead, George.
Hey, Brandon, going back to the player union stuff, how much communication did you have with Vic, and how much did he maybe try to persuade you to say, hey, we need as many guys as possible to come in here for OTAs? And how much was there back and forth of, saying, we don't want to do so much 11 on 11 and things like that?
Yeah, first off, I want to answer that one question a little bit. The fact that, our job as a union rep, each team took a different role from their union rep leaders to their players. On our calls, we weren't even close to telling people, hey, stay away from the facility. We let each player make their own decision. So with discussing with Vic about how many people we could get back in that facility, didn't have much to do with us per se, because we left it to each player to either stand by their word in their vote or make their own decision what's best for them and their family. And so that's how we would approach that player. But with speaking with Vic, Justin and I called him before we made the announcement, so they weren't blindsided by it, and just trying to keep him in the loop as much as possible where we were coming from. One of the biggest things between union battles with the owners and stuff is the coaches kind of are on limbo. The coaches don't have, they're kind of in between the negotiations. So all they want to do is coach their players and get them better. The owners are trying to do the business side of it. The players are trying to protect their player and safety, usually the most. So the coaches are always in limbo. So just trying to keep him understanding where we were coming from. And, I know Vic's an old school guy, and we appreciate that about him, but trying to bounce some ideas off of him where we can kind of do the same amount of work in less time, or how to better approach practice and making sure players are healthy and you're still gaining the same conditioning that they need and stuff. So, speaking with him, he was great in doing that. And obviously, like I said, it's always going to be a give and take. That some of the assistant coaches, I'm saying that they want the players their hands on them more and stuff like that. But the players trying to protect them as well. It'll always be a battle. Unfortunately, the kind of coaches are in limbo between the owners and the players.